Okay. I last night went through and I kind of saved this piece for the last one. It's the sofa and the armchair that are like 40s style. The reason I kind of saved them for the last is because they have much less twisty turny stuff. They pretty much go together. I mean, this looks really super complicated, but once you fold everything, you can find your way through it. So this morning I started working on. I love this print. It's just so over the board, like overwhelmingly 1970s. And it's not for everybody. I just wanted to pick like a really super bright pattern, very kind of like non-geometric type of pattern to see if I could make it work. And part of that is the learning curve of like, how am I going to drop in these pieces, the types of paths that I have to use. And there's lots of little things that I went through and made corrections to from the original that I wanted to kind of figure out. And I found, let me see. I found what I wanted to use with these color swatches, because these are just like little color swatches. This one's called Cognac. It shows up really darker on the video than it is. It's closer in the family group of the outline, and then this goldenrod kind of color, which is kind of showing up green. But as I was going through and starting to work on this, I'd save these little pieces for the last bit because they're going to be kind of complicated to fill in. I found this. And I'm like, well, crud. And then I didn't like the fact that these don't extend off the tabs that fold in, because part of the reason I put the color here is because when you fold it, I don't want you to see like a stark white piece of paper or anything. And the reason at this point right here, I stopped, because basically what I have to do is come in and drop in a clipping path over and over and over again. I think there are probably about 20 of them on here, so it's not too bad. But I have to do that over and over and over again. And then let's see if I can find toy images, which is only down here, room and wall, fabrics, velvet, goldenrod. Open. Sorry. Hello. I'm in my studio. It's really, the weather here has turned really chilly. So I'm in my little comfy, cozy. Select, copy, pop back over here, make sure I'm working on the right place. And, oh, my path went away. Where'd the path go? My path here? Nope. Okay, we'll go ahead and do another path. It's not that big of a deal. But it's, I don't want to have to select path and edit, paste into selection. Okay. So you can see here where I dropped that in. That's not that big of a deal. Okay, let me anchor the layer and then get rid of the... So that's not that big of a deal, but when you start to find mistakes like this, and then when I looked at this, if we look even closer, because this is about 800 times, this is in the wrong place. It needs to be up into this line here. So I stopped. I stopped and I went back to the other program that I'm working in, which is Inkscape, where I'm drawing all of the outlines. And you can see here, this is, I'm going to push this over a little bit. These are all the paths that I'm working with here. So if I come over, don't want to do that. Why did that happen? That should not happen. I'm going to turn that off. Why did that do that? It switched off the axis. It's not going to let me. So oh, nope. Well, that's an interesting thing. I got to go back and figure out how that happened. I'm going to get rid of that though. And you can see here, I have all of the this is the original in here. And what I've noticed is, let me come back in here, turn that off. Well, and now, okay, because you can see where I've drawn. This area here is giving me a problem. And you're thinking, why? Well, because when you look at the lines, it's not straight. And this happens when things are copied over and over and over again. If we look here and we're zooming in, I think we're getting close to, like, this is almost 400%. You can see the fuzziness here. This has been copied over and over and over again. The font is no longer, like, has a crisp line to it. And you look here and you're starting to get these really funny little outlines here of things. Some of the dots, which may have not been precise in the beginning anyway, are like really all out of whack. And the problem with, oh, wrong key command. The problem with this is when I'm going through and trying to make sure that this part aligns with this part, they were on different parts of the copy, so they don't quite align right. And I'm trying to be, like, really careful about how I'm doing these things, like, and it's driving me nuts. Like over here, you can see I changed around this angle, but now this is a little out of whack. So I'm having to go through and remeasure these pieces to make sure that, and again, I just accidentally tilted the whole thing and I can't figure out how I did it. I'll fix it. But I have to figure out how big these are supposed to be and what the ratios are. And you can hear my brain screaming. I'm dealing with numbers and ratios. I don't like doing that. So I'm trying to figure these things out. And I think part of the way that I can make this work is that, let's turn this off, is that these tabs all are covered with a pattern. So if something is a little off whack, you're not going to be seeing the big bright white sort of thing. I've also, done some things where I'm increasing the size of these outlines, because once these are done, then they are pulled up in, let's go back here to Gimp. And then, oh wait, wrong one. That's the Groovy Fabric one. As you can tell, I called it 70s Groovy Fabric. Let's go back, and where did I put this? There's Armchair. Let's pull this one up. These are the SVG files, which just means what I was drawing before, I pull into another program, and it looks like this, which is just the way I export it. It's only lines. I need to, oh yeah. Okay, hold on a second. I'm not used to talking while I'm doing this. There we go. Yeah. Ratio, and I do not want that as the resolution. Okay. And then it'll pull this up. So then it looks like this. What this means is, if you haven't worked much in computers or with graphics or interfaces like this, platforms, anything where you see the checkerboard pattern is clear. It'll only, I can put things behind it. Like in here, I'm gonna come over here and here is the drawing. I've added in the white around the outside, which isn't that big of a deal. And then I'm working on two different layers here, one for the bottom and one for the top. And wherever I come in and do that cutting and pasting like I did before, that you saw me do, I do it one piece at a time on one layer. So I wanted to show you like this little part down here that you can kind of see still moving around. It just means it's still active. Oops, wrong way. Wrong key command. The key commands between these two things are like one is a control and one is a for enlarging and reducing. And it's like one is command shift and the other's control shift, and it just drives me nuts. So dropping these in, they're right here, and then I have to flatten the image and then export. So if you're wondering what kind of is taking me so long with some of these, it's that. And if you're looking, like if I'm looking right here, let's make this bigger. You can see I have the two different fabrics, but I've got about 2 pixels in between here. So you'd be able to see a tiny little gray line there. So that would need to be fixed. Which I can, come in probably do this. Nah, I wouldn't do this with healing. I'm not that good. And some of these tools, I am not incredibly good with. I don't use patterns over here. I prefer to use my own patterns. And I prefer to kind of take the long way around the barn with things, whereas someone who is much more adept in this would be banging it out way quicker than I would. So I just wanted to kind of explain to you why these two particular pieces are taking me a lot longer. And it also has to do with the finding of the fabrics that I use as well, because most of the time, the fabrics that I'm using, if we go back to show images only just means it's flat. It's just something that I think looks neat. So if I come in here and grab this one, this was another one that I thought I might want to use. Love this fabric. But where I pulled it from, pardon me, where I pulled it or sourced it from, there's kind of you can see it's fabric here. It's starting to bend and wave, which I really don't mind. But when we go down and look at the image properties, it's only 72 ppi, which isn't fabulous. So then I need to go back in, and some fabrics I can do it with and some I can't. I need this to be more like 300. So then that makes me have to go in and, okay, I'm not merging. I want to scale the image. So it's all in pixels. If I come in here and 300, and you notice I add the 0, this has changed, so it should all come together. But now I need to check in print. Okay, wait a minute, not print. Okay, so now it's 2 inches to almost 2.5 bytes. It's still small. Where'd it go? It's scale image. Yeah, here we go. I need to come in here and bump this up, which gives me, basically it's telling the computer to kind of fill in some gaps between things, and I can tell it's done it because I've gotten a little bit of pixelation going on in here at about 550 times. So let's go back down to 100. That doesn't look too bad. So there's some stuff I have to do going backwards and forwards, and of course, like I said, someone who is much more adept at this would do a much better job and do it much quicker than I am doing. So, like I said, I just wanted to explain to you what I've been working on and why some of these things are just taking a lot longer than they would otherwise. And I can also point out some other pieces. I'm so itching to get started on this one. This is a Nando Honti design from the late 20s. I think this is 1926. The boudoir, and I love these pieces, but they've got some design problems with them. So I've already fixed this one and added some things to the back, some more structure. I thought this chair was just uber cute, and I'm looking for things to put on here because I really liked that this was like a little like a sewn sort of thing. This piece I'm taking apart completely, and the design will, these will be bigger, these will be longer, because I didn't like this. The potentiality for doing that, I didn't like. I do love this design, and I plan on using that in the background. So these are things I'm working on for the boudoir, at least Nandor called it. Nandor Honti was a Hungarian fashion designer, or not fashion designer, fashion illustrator from the 20s. So anyway, this video has gone way too long. Wherever you are, my patrons, I hope that you are warm and happy and are having a lovely Yolu. I was outdoors yesterday, and the wind here has made me long for Finland. Yeah, -10 is perfect, and we're so far inland, and there's so many trees that the wind is not a thing. So, thank you, patrons. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you in the next video.